All right, hey, what's up, everybody? We got something special for you today. It's going to be me, Chris F, with my buddy Taj F, which you guys might know from the Street Fighter 5 days. And we got you today. We're going to be talking about fighting games in our new video series, Chill the F Out. So, Taj, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. It's good to see you again. It's been a while since Evo Japan?
Yeah, it's been like 2 years since I saw you last.
Yeah, 2023. It was crazy. So, and we got all kind of history with that. But yeah, I go by Tajito, Taj256, whatever you want to call me. OG name is Taj F, so it's perfect that me and Chris F linked up. You know, the F can stand for a lot of things. It could also stand for flex, right? Because we be flexing in the gym.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean? Yeah, but yeah, man, we're gonna talk about some fighting games for sure.
That's right. We're gonna be talking about a couple things today. First thing I want to talk about, as you guys know, since I basically do all my content with Street Fighter 6, I like Street Fighter 6. I've been saying it in my videos, I've been saying it in my streams. I enjoy the game. I think it's fun. I like it. I think there's some things that can be fixed about the game. I don't think it's a perfect fighting game. I don't think that really exists. But I genuinely do enjoy playing Street Fighter 6. It's the only reason why I make content for it. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be doing it. But Taj, on the other hand, I know he pretty much like hates Street Fighter 6. He's like the #1 Street Fighter 6 hater I know.
Yeah, I guess unless it's IDOM, I guess I'm like right under IDOM or something like that, that's a whole different story, man. But man, I could talk about this all day, and I'm glad that we have both perspectives because I'm sure there's people, you know, some people like it, some people hate it, some people are in the middle, like they're indifferent. So with us bringing our two perspectives, I feel like, you know, we can make a great discussion about it, and we have a healthy discussion. We have fun with this, you know. That's another thing with the F stands for fun. We're having fun with
Exactly, right, man. So today's topic, it's going to be Street Fighter 6 lover versus Street Fighter 6 hater. I'm going to say why I like the game. Taj is going to say why he doesn't like it, and we're just going to see where we kind of go with this and just talk about the game. I think it's going to be kind of fun. So, Taj, you liked Street Fighter 5, right? Now, coming into Street Fighter 6, I know you were excited for Street Fighter 6 when it came out. I was talking to you, you said you were looking forward to playing Ken. You were getting pretty hyped for it. Then it came out, and you're like, yo, I'm not feeling this game. So what is it about Street Fighter 6, like specifically or generally, whatever, what is it about the game that made you stop playing?
So, man, it's a long story. I'm going to try to shorten this down as much as I can. But first, with fighting games, I'm a big lore guy, believe that or not. So I didn't hit the ground running with the competitive side of the game. I went to World Tour and, you know, the story modes and all that because I'm like, oh, this is after Third Strike, so I'm about to see what's up with Street Fighter 6, like, you know, what's going on with the Secret Society and Street Fighter, what's going on with Ken, all this stuff. So I'm playing World Tour, you know, and everybody's on social media talking about, oh, I hate Drive Rush, this and that. I'm like, what's wrong with Drive Rush? I don't know, but I'm just playing it casually, so of course I'm not gonna know what's up with it. All right, so I finally get done through World Tour and stuff like that, and all right, I was like, let's get competitive with it. So I'm like, all right, let me start playing around in training mode. So I'm in training mode. I'm like, all right, how do I get a good combo? All right, okay, you can do an EX move or something or punish counter, but you're probably going to Drive Rush for like a good combo. I was like, okay, all right. So then I'm like, okay, how do you, like, you know, navigate into neutral? Well, you know, you can probably walk back and forth, dash, but if you want to close in space quick, you're probably going to Drive Rush. I'm like, okay, all right. So then I'm like, all right, well, what do I get off of, like, you know, like, how do I get a mix-up starter on my plus frames? Oh, you got a Drive Rush for that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm seeing a pattern. I'm like, okay, max damage, Drive Rush, and, you know, I can go on and on for this. But I'm like, wow, I'm really using this one Drive Rush mechanic a lot. But then I'm seeing it how the other characters use it, and I'm like, whoa, everybody's pretty much doing the same Drive Rush cancel. Not exactly,
Well, more
but
or less,
everybody's
yeah.
pretty much playing the game. Yeah, like everybody's playing the game in a very homogenized way. And the thing I pride on when I play fighting games is that when I pick characters, I like that other characters can't do what my character do. And essentially, to me, what 6 does is that 6, like, I feel like the reason why it's so balanced is because everybody's pretty much doing the same game plan in a different way, sure, but everybody's game plan is pretty much, you know, rush down all day, unless you're like JP, Dawson, Rashid even, and stuff like that. But I was like, man, I never seen a game like where I'm just using this one mechanic over and over. Like the gameplay loop, I'm sorry, is like very like fast but also repetitive. So I eventually just got bored with it because I'm like, wow, like this is the game, right? I know level 2s and stuff give people different, you know, like you can see, have some people have installs and stuff and all that stuff, and you can use them in their own way. But for the most part, I feel like the majority of the cast is playing the same way.
So it sounds to me like for you, your main issue with Street Fighter Six is the lack of variety, and that every character, yeah, I mean, they kind of got some different stuff going for them. They're not all doing exactly the same combo routing or whatever.
Right.
But for the most part, the way you're going to be navigating neutral and the way you're going to be using your tools, everybody has access to the same stuff. I mean, other than the characters that can't correct medium quick drive rush, but for the most part, everyone kind of wants to run the same thing, and you don't feel like there's that character variety or like that. How can I say that unique aspect of it? So I think that's absolutely. I agree with that. I think that's one thing Street Fighter 6 does pretty badly. By design, though, I think they want everyone to kind of play the same. And for me, I mean, I got into the fighting game scene back in like what 2012 ish when KOF 13 came out on consoles. Yeah, man, I'm an unk now. I can admit it.
Or big bro, whatever.
Or big bro. I think I'm just on the I'm just on the just on the entail.
Yeah, right, bro. Right.
So yeah. Anyways, I got into it there, and what I liked about fighting games at that time, because what was popular then, UMVC 3. Street Fighter 4, right? And then there were some other games that weren't as popular, but those were the big two. And KOF 13 was the game I played. But games from that generation, I feel like you could watch a stream or you could watch a tournament, and you didn't have to have the player names on the screen. And based on their playstyle, not even like costume color, like what costume they're using, because that's a bit of a tell. But just generally speaking, you could like watch any stream, and you would kind of know which top player was playing that character based on their playstyle, because those games gave quite a bit of freedom as to what you could do. It wasn't so like the meta was definitely there, and characters definitely had like a correct and incorrect way to play them, but because there were more normal moves, like even like proximity normals for Street Fighter 4, that kind of stuff existed. There were a lot of combos that required quite a bit of execution, especially Street Fighter 4 and UMVC 3. Like those were like execution heavy games. You could tell who was playing, and I thought a lot of the hype from those games was because of that player individuality and that playstyle that could be shown through. And that's something I think we lost a lot in Street Fighter 5, and that trend kind of continued to Street Fighter 6, where that character, like that playstyle uniqueness from you as a player kind of disappeared. Like if you watch one Ken, you've kind of watched them all. I mean, that's kind of putting down, that's kind of, I'm not trying to be rude to like the top players who play Ken. Obviously, if you're really into the game and you're really watching a lot of tournaments, you can probably tell who is playing who if you're really into it. But for the most part, everyone is doing the same combos. Everyone's playing neutral more or less the same. Knockdown, throw loop, there's not much individuality there. You kind of loop them, you run your offense. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you go back to neutral. That's it.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think that's something that you probably don't like, the lack of uniqueness. And I think that's something a lot of players don't like too. And it's something I wish Street Fighter 6 did better. And it was something I was hoping that they would add to the game from Season 1 now to Season 3. Maybe giving characters new level 2 utility supers. That's the one thing I think Street Fighter 6 does really well. There are some characters that have some really cool level 2s, like Blanca has some uniqueness with the level 2, how you want to set that up. Guile has it too. He actually has real execution combos in the game that doesn't have execution for the most part, with his level 2 boom loops and stuff like that. There's some other characters too, Jiri to some degree, but I would have liked to have seen Street Fighter 6 add some more things that allows like individual expression to the game. But that doesn't really seem to be the trend moving forward, and it's something I dislike about the game. But what I will say that I do like about the game is I think having characters that are really easy to understand and like a really simple offensive game plan helps a lot of people get better, or at least play at a higher level quicker. And I think that's a good thing about a fighting game, because obviously fighting games are growing. And I'm not saying that fighting games should grow at the expense of characters with execution, or at the expense of having expression as a player through your characters. But I think there's something to be said that the simplest Street Fighter game to date is also the most popular. And not only is it popular, it's growing right now internationally. I don't live in America. I don't live in North America or Canada anymore. I live in Japan. This game is going wild here in Japan and in other places in Asia too, but Japan's kind of unique that way. But again, I think it's kind of interesting that the game that is the simplest and kind of most polarizing for players is also the most popular, and I think the simplicity of that plays a large part in it.
Yes, I actually agree too, because I want to make sure that people don't think like, oh man, he's just a hater, this whatever, because I like to empathize on both sides, right? So like like as a hardcore, veteran of fighting game players, like I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like 6, but I can see why a lot of people would, especially the newcomers, the casuals, right? Because like, yeah, like the ease of the barrier of ease or whatever, right? Is way easier now, right? It's so open and welcoming, right? So like that's why so many new folks feel so welcome with Street Fighter 6, and that's one of the beauties of it is like, yes, our community's growing. I like that there's single player content for those folks that just want to play World Tour or anything like that. I like the whole virtual arcade with Battle Hub. I think that's the best mode in the game is Battle Hub. I use that. I play that so much. Even when I wasn't feeling the game, I would still just go there and just play endless matches and stuff like that. But I like those parts. And then like honestly, because this where it gets a little subjective here is like as a package, right? Just visually looking at Street Fighter 6, I can see why it would appeal to so many people. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the realism that the art style goes into, but I can see why it would capture the eye of the masses, right? Because like, the old art style, like in Street Fighter 4, even Street Fighter 3 and stuff, some people might feel like, oh, it looks too cartoony, it looks too anime looking. I want something that looks a little bit more real, and that's what they accomplished, honestly, with 6 is that like, okay, you want like a Street Fighter that looks like, a little bit more real, still got its unique art style, of course, but if you want something to look a little bit more real that's going to appeal to folks like the Mortal Kombat folks, the Tekken folks, whatever, then 6 does that perfectly, honestly. And I like that they did try to do something different because you don't have to use the same art style over and over again. I like that they tried something different. I just think it didn't age that well for me, but I understand why people like it because like on the surface, 6 looks great. It looks great for esports. It looks great for casuals. It looks great for even, the veterans too as well. So I understand exactly why people like 6. And I like that people are changing, like this game is changing people's lives, with the game, like present all kind of opportunities like commentator. You got Sage Am Slam. You got all these events that 6 has. Obviously, the $1 million prize pool, people's lives are getting changed like that. That's the beauty I like about the game. It's just the gameplay I'm just not a big fan of. But everything else about 6, I'm a fan.
Common things I hear. Every character plays the same LOL, drive rush, green slime, throw loops. Those are the things that everybody talks about, right? And when you're bringing up negatives of the game. I'm going to argue that, number one, I know a lot of people say, oh, neutral's dead, or like you can't play like a Shoto like you did in the older games because that style isn't good. Just drive rush them, green slime, drive impact, win kind of thing. My argument is I don't want new Street Fighter games or like any games in the for any franchise for that matter. I don't want them to play like the previous game because then why don't you just keep on playing the old game? Like I don't want to play Street Fighter 6 like you could play Street Fighter 4 or play the exact same way you could play Street Fighter 5 because it's a new title. It shouldn't play exactly the same. Now, of course, you're always going to have like fundamentals and like basic things that carry over to each game. I don't think they should like completely rewrite the book. Like you're not going to take away Hadouken from Ryu kind of thing. Right? Like Guile's going to have Flash Kick, Sonic Boom. Like, I mean, that's just kind of like there's some expectations you go into with a certain franchise. But I don't want a new title to play like the previous one, even if it plays worse. Like I would rather the game end up being a failure in terms of playstyle and everything at the expense of not having it play exactly the same, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to play the same game for 20 years. Because if I wanted to play that game, I'll just play Street Fighter 4. I'll just play like Street Fighter 5. I want the new one to feel like a different game. You shouldn't be able to win at top level with the exact same strategies for everything all the time. And I think that makes for like a really boring series. Now, sometimes it works out really well. Sometimes it doesn't work out really well. Like for me, like I like Street Fighter 6. You don't. Or for like Tekken, I know a lot of people who love Tekken 7 hate Tekken 8. Like sometimes you run the risk of alienating your previous audience with that. But I think that's kind of like a necessary evil we need to have in order to kind of like move forward and have like a new game come out. I don't want to play the same game. So that's my first thing. So I'm happy that Street Fighter 6 changed things up and didn't play exactly the same like 5 or 4. I like that.
Right. I can respect that. Absolutely.
Then my second point is that no matter what Street Fighter game or any game for that matter, but ever since I got into the scene, the number one thing I always heard is people just like trashing the game. Street Fighter 4, Sleep Fighter 4. You guys remember that? It's too defensive. Yeah. People aren't doing anything. They're holding down back. People used to call it Sleep Fighter 4. I had a buddy. I don't know if you guys know this guy. Do you guys know who Samir is? Samir was one of the best third strike players in Toronto, where I was from. He actually beat Jay Wong at EVO one year. Really sick player. OG. I don't think he doesn't play fighting games anymore, but he was really sick back in the day. and he used to call it Super Scrub Fighter 4.
Oh.
Because for him, he thought the game was shitty. He played Third Strike. He's like, Third Strike is better. Now, everyone has their own opinion. I'm not saying it's better or worse than Third Strike, but everybody made fun of Street Fighter 4 when it was really popular. People loved to hate on that game. I didn't really play it. I didn't play it competitively, but I enjoyed watching it at tournaments. So I didn't really have too much of an opinion on it, but that's what everybody was complaining about. Then you go to Street Fighter 5. Everyone knows how Season 1 was. They say, 8-frame delay. Duty Fighter 5. He said the Japanese players only play it because it's their job and they have to. What was that? Sweep V-Trigger was the meme. That kind of stuff. Even when Street Fighter 5 was popular, people were trashing it all the time on like Twitter, like on Stream Chat. Now,
as they should, as a product when it came out, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, but now everyone kind of like just like speaks like so positively of Street Fighter 5, and I think people are just remembering like the last like 2 seasons, like season 4, season 5. You remember when Abigail came out? Everyone was making fun of that game. This game is trash. Oh my
goodness.
So I think one important thing to remember whenever a fighting game is out, the most important thing is, do you enjoy it? Because if you let online discourse or like God forbid Twitter opinions or like what people are saying on like Reddit or like YouTube or like Twitch chat, if you just take everyone's just like shit posting all the time, and they're just doing it because it's fun to shit post. But if you take those opinions seriously, it's really going to detract from your enjoyment of the game, and eventually, if you keep on seeing those messages over and over again, it's going to make you feel that way too. So
absolutely,
I think now, because the game is more popular and more people are talking about it and there are more like opinions everywhere on social media, it gives the impression that everybody hates the game, but I don't think that's true.
Nah.
And I don't think Street Fighter 6 is more or less hated than previous entries, like 4 or 5, the most recent ones. That's just something that, it's a loop that always goes on in the FGC all the time. People love to just like shitpost and make fun of the most popular game. So I'd argue that people actually like Street Fighter 6 more than you think. It's just that you don't hear those positive opinions as much because it's not really... I mean, who opens up Twitter and says, wow, I love Street Fighter 6. This game is fun. Like, nobody posts that, right? People don't talk about that. It's like you go to a restaurant, or even like, you ever go to like Google reviews for a hospital?
Oh, there you go.
It's always like a 1-star review. It always makes it sound like if you go to that hospital, you're basically gonna die on the table.
Right.
Because people don't people don't say like, wow, that was the best hospital experience of my life. Like, they don't go to Google reviews and do that. They only do it when they're pissed off. They're just venting.
Right.
And I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
Even if it has positive reviews, the negative just holds more weight, because that's what people are doing. They're looking for something to not like about it.
Yeah, they're just self-posting pretty much.
Right.
And it's the same thing I think it's the same thing for Street Fighter 6. Like, people just put that out there. So I think it seems like there's more negativity than not. Then the third point I'm going to say for why I actually do enjoy Street Fighter 6 is, I'm going to be honest, and I think people might going to call me out on this, but I've changed my mentality in terms of how I think about fighting games over the past couple of years. Because fighting games, so when I got into the FGC, I would say fighting games were executionally demanding. They were. Street Fighter 4, executionally demanding. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, absolutely. King of Fighters 13, it's known for being executionally demanding. That's a bit hyped up there, but that's not what this talk is about. It was more executionally demanding than most games out right now. So the old games that when I got into the scene, compared to now, were much harder for a variety of reasons. A big one being execution, also like matchups, but they were harder. Now, fast forward to like 2023 or 2025 right now, I think every single fighting game out right now that is played at tournaments, I think can be argued are easier than previous versions of those games. Tekken 8, easier than previous Tekkens. Street Fighter 6, easier than previous ones. What else is popular? Strive, easier than like Xrd in previous games. Now, people are going to argue with me about what easier is or isn't, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say easier. For the most part.
Not like easier to win, because the competition is at an all-time high right now, right? But easy to just get into.
Just the game system itself, how you pilot your characters, how the game is built, the amount of things you need to remember, all those kind of things. Like, it's easier in so many ways. So I changed my mentality because I know that style of like high execution, like deep layered game systems kind of thing, that style of fighting game is probably not coming back anytime soon. And even if it does come back, we don't know when it's coming back, but what we have is what we have now. And then I kind of made a call when I was playing these games, like lately, like Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. And I was like, well, either I can change my mentality and accept the game for what it is and not wish it was something else and just keep on playing with like on my face all day, right? Just being pissed off, hoping they change it in a future update, or just saying, all right, this is what the game is. I'm going to accept it for what it is, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to enjoy it for the game that we have. Because if I don't do that, and if I don't change that mentality, my only two options are to play it with like this feeling of like anger and wanting it to be something else, or I just have to quit and either quit fighting games altogether or just talk to people on Discord and stick with the older games that I like. And the choice I made was I'm going to accept the game for what it is, because I don't think fighting games are ever going to go back to the style that they were when I first got into it. So I'm waiting for something that won't come, which means that either I have to quit or I have to just kind of change my mentality, shift to the modern trends of fighting games, and still enjoy it just in a different way than I enjoyed fighting games before.
Oh man. Okay.
So that's how I enjoyed Street Fighter 6. That's why I still continue to enjoy it, just because I accept it for what it is, and I'm not hoping that it changes into a different game. Green slime, mid screen, neutral is strong. I'm gonna throw that shit out all day. If you can't stop me, hold that L. If you can, good on you.
Oh man.
All right, so that's
good. That's good.
And then I'm not gonna get into the other things about Street Fighter 6. Like you said, it's a great product. Online is amazing. I can get matches any time of day. Like in Japan, I can log on at like 3:45 a.m. on a Wednesday and get a match in my MR rank in like 5 seconds. Training mode, World Tour, Battle Hub has got all these different features. I think everybody can agree it's the best produced fighting game ever. I don't think we've ever had. Yeah, it's a new standard. They changed the game for competitive fighting. I don't think they did anything groundbreaking. They just didn't like miss any important things. I will say that though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to put replay takeover in there, and then now they got the whole little assistant in the game too. They're like definitely changing the game as they go. But yeah, when the game came out, like they hit everything. Like it doesn't take. Unfortunately, it don't take that much to satisfy us fighting game players. Like we just need good netcode, gameplay there, characters, like modes and all that stuff. Some for the casual, some for the hardcore, and all that. And they knocked it out the park with it. So I have to give props to them for coming out with a great product, because I mean it's proof what it sold 3 million not too long ago, and it's probably going to sell even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're at 5 million now, which is really great. But yeah. All right, Taj. So I said why I'm able to enjoy Street Fighter 6 and how I kind of like changed my mentality to be able to like play it and still have a lot of fun when I do it. What would it take to bring you back into Street Fighter 6? What would they need to do to get you to be like, I want to play this game and I'm having fun?
Oh man, I don't know if I'm about to surprise you with it or anything, but I kind of have the IDOM mentality. Honestly, truthfully, I got to be real with y'all. I'm big bro over here. I don't think there's anything they can do, because so the game is so reliant on the drive gauge. So it's supposed to be this deep system, which I mean, it's got its nuances to it, sure. But I feel like also in a way it's kind of limiting, what I'm saying, with again, how they use driver, unless they can somehow, I don't know, I don't think they're gonna change the game or anything like that. Like I know they're gonna add mechanics in the future, but how the regular gameplay loop is, I don't think they're gonna change the core of it. The core of it is exactly what it is. You use your use the drive gauge for your OD moves, whatever. Use your drive gauge to do drive rush, because drive rush is a Swiss Army knife, right? So it does everything for you. It does your taxes, it mows your lawn, does everything for you. So I don't think they're going to change that part, because everybody says like, oh, well, what if they make drive rush and neutral more expensive? I'm like, there's so many characters that depend on the neutral drive rush in their combos. You can't do that. Then they're just burnt out off of like one B&B. You know what I'm saying? Like Marisa one. I played her too. I played her, Akuma, and Ken. So I try to make sure oh, maybe it's just Ken. Like let me try Marisa and some other characters. And I'm like, nah, I even tried Terry out too. But yeah, I think the game is just too reliant on the drive gauge. Like cool meter management is cool at the high level, but I think it's just done when you see high level play, it is impressive, because I think any game with high level is impressive. Like we could be playing Footsie's the game that High Five made, where it's just you press the same buttons, boom, you like, oh dang, that was hype. Other games.
Shout out to High Five. Yep.
Right. Shout out to Hot Fight. But yeah, I think like how the game functions, I don't think there's anything they could do to it. Because I feel like the game is exactly what it is. And it's funny too, because I want to go back to that point about what you were saying about change your mentality. The thing I'll say in a rebuttal to that is that I think us players actually have a lot of power. Like I think if we communicated it the right way, like the right channel, if we have to do emails, if we have to do YouTube videos, if we have to talk to certain people at the events that we go to, because all kind of people show up to the events now, I think we hold a lot of power. So I think we could also advocate for change. We could change our mentality with it too, but I think there's nothing wrong with advocating for change either if we all come together. But unfortunately, trying to get the community all, to get on one page, that's obviously going to be a challenge because everybody's going to have their different opinions, and as they should, because that's the beauty of the community. Because I know Japan, they pretty much accept the game for what it is.
They take it.
Yes, and then of course their livelihoods there's all kind of factors there, but for the most part, they're like even in five, right? Like they played five, even though.
But like even like for here in Japan, the thing I'm seeing the most is, not to cut you off, but
yeah, you're fine.
Like it's not even the pro players, like just like, okay, not normies, that isn't the word, but like casual fighting game players have kind of gravitated to this game, and it's gotten. I wish I had a picture of it, but I went to basically the Japanese version of Best Buy yesterday, like Yodobashi Camera. They had it's like we're over 2 years into the release of this game. They still have a corner in like their PC section with Street Fighter 6 setups, and today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday and Sunday. They're doing a Turtle Beach Vitrix, that's the company that owns Vitrix, event where you can try out their controllers. And Sako just got recently sponsored by them. They're going to be holding a casual free entry tournament Saturday and Sunday in the gaming section, like the gaming PC section of Japanese Best Buy. And you can play with Sako, and there's going to be a ton of people. It's free entry, right? So it's just this game on just a, how can I say, a general popularity base is huge, and I think that's also why they haven't really changed too much about this game, despite how much some people are complaining about it, because most of the complaints I hear are from the English-speaking community. And I'm not saying you're wrong to complain. Before you guys get me in the chat, I think it's important to complain about things you don't like. But I do think a lot of those complaints are falling on deaf ears, because me having lived in Japan for a long time, I'm going to be real with you guys. This is going to sound so bad, but there's really no nice way to say this. I think Japanese companies, nothing gets them more hype than when a game or like their product does well in Japan. If it sells well internationally, that's like the cherry on top. But what really makes their day is having it do well here. And I'm trying not to be like, I don't know, it sounds a little racist or whatever, but I just think that's the general trend I've seen from companies. And I think Capcom is really happy that Street Fighter 6, a Japanese game, is doing really well in Japan.
Yeah,
and I think they want to keep that up.
Yeah,
I think they want to keep that.
Bringing that perspective, so you're seeing that what we don't see over there, and that's good. I mean, it's funny because like we can. I feel like you can see everything we see over in the States because we just put everything on social media, right? But something like that, what you just said, we're not really going to be able to see that from our side unless you're just in tune with the Japanese fighting game community, or just over there in tune with what's going on over there. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Then something else I want to talk about on that same topic of complaining about a game. I said it's important to not complain, but to voice your opinion about things you don't like about the game to the company, whether or not they're, like I said, it's kind of, I think it's falling on deaf ears with Capcom because they're focusing on the Japanese scene, but still I think it's important to make that clear. I can't remember when it was exactly, maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I made a tweet because a couple of people, like a couple of top players in the North American scene, were complaining about Street Fighter 6 Season 3. They're saying, oh, the game's exactly the same, or like, oh, just neutral drive rush. I can't remember what the tweet was exactly, but I saw a couple of posts complaining about it, and I said, maybe the reason why Street Fighter 6 is doing so well in Japan compared to other places is because the top players don't constantly complain about the game, and instead, when they're streaming or when they're making YouTube videos, show how fun the game is and why you should be playing it. And I think that's a huge issue that the English-speaking community is not a huge issue. I think that's one thing the Japanese community does really well. When you watch the streams, whether they're acting or whether they actually enjoy it, that's a different topic altogether. Let's put that aside, because obviously, pro players, they got to get paid, right? And they're
Yeah.
not being
Yeah.
100% authentic all the time. If you think they're being 100% authentic all the time, always, I mean, I don't, you're living on a different planet, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, I think there comes a point when voicing concerns goes way past voicing concerns and just becomes like salt posting and actually hurts
Mm,
you as a brand if you're either a top player or a content creator, or it hurts the community and prevents people who want to get into the game because top players, top content creators, anybody with some kind of platform on social media, you have a lot of pull in the general opinion of a game. It's not just you, because if you say something and then someone parrots what you're saying, like another content creator, another pro player, it all kind of snowballs, and then that just kind of becomes the narrative. And I think it's important, again, if the game is really bad and you hate it, you can say what you want to say. But I think it's also important to show that you're enjoying some aspects of it if you are going to be constantly entering tournaments and constantly like streaming and playing and creating content for the game, because otherwise it's hypocritical. If you hate it so much, why don't you just quit?
right.
Why are you saying this
Absolutely.
game is terrible, I hate it, it's trash, blah 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 blah, but you're still entering tournaments every week, you're still putting out content, you're still trying to get top 8 for everything? Because
Yeah.
at that point
Yeah.
I think you're just hurting your brand.
Absolutely. Those people, I like to call those clowns. Clown me on the chat if you want. Like, the only people that should be forcing themselves to play the game, even though they don't like it, are the ones that make actually like, get some revenue from it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's part of their livelihood. But if you're like some, goofball that's just playing it just because everybody else is playing it, because I think of like the FGC and these fighting games, it's like high school again, where like it's a bunch of sheep mentality. We're like, oh man, so and so's playing, I gotta play it too, right? But you really don't. Like we're all grown here for the most part. But yeah, like you're in control of your life, so you don't have to put endless hours into something you don't like. Like that's counterproductive. What are you doing? Go find another hobby, like meditate, watch some new anime or something, catch up on your backlog on some games or whatever. Do something,
Mm-hmm.
go to the gym if you can. But yeah, like nobody should be wasting their time on something they don't like unless it's their part of their livelihood, and I
Dude,
doubt it
honestly,
is.
I totally agree with you. And like, I'm gonna sound like a big bro or an unk here, but my advice for younger people watching this, and I think I'm pretty sure Taji's gonna say the same thing. When it comes to games, man, don't waste your time playing something you hate. Honestly, like
Absolutely.
you spend so much time of your day either at work or school. A lot of the times we've got so many obligations and there's so many things we got to spend time on doing things we really don't want to do. Most people don't like their jobs. If you like your job, congrats, because you're in the minority. So props to you
Right.
for actually landing a job that you enjoy. But most people do not want to go. Most people are just waiting to get back home the before they even step into the office or wherever, before they even start working. You spend so much time of your day doing things you don't want to do. Don't waste your time playing a game you hate. A game is supposed to be something fun. It's a game, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you're a pro player and your livelihood and your income is
Hmm.
very closely tied to the game that you're playing, and those people are obligated to play because that's their brand, that's where they make their money. If you are
Right.
not one of those players and you hate the game, stop spending time playing it and don't just complain all the time, because you know what, that's going to have an impact on your life too. It's
Absolutely.
not healthy to keep on putting yourself through something you hate and to complain about it by your own conscious choice, because we don't all get to choose a job that we like. It's just the unfortunate reality. Like it would
Yeah.
be fantastic if we can all work doing what we truly love, but life is life, we can't all do that. But when it comes to gaming and stuff, man, if you add that extra negativity into your day and you force yourself to do something you hate plus all the stuff you have to do that you already hate in your day, you're going to be so sad and your life would be so much better if you just dropped it. So, advice from Chris F: if you're playing a game or doing some kind of other activity in your day that you don't have to do, that you don't like, stop, because that negativity just grows and grows and grows with all the other things in your life and you end up becoming miserable. So, don't put yourself through that.
Exactly. Great advice, big bro Chris. Real talk.
I
That
can't
was
I
real
can't I
talk.
can't
Yeah.
understand players who constantly load up this game just to complain all the time.
No, me
It couldn't
neither,
be me,
man.
man. Couldn't be me. Like
Nah.
Tekken 8, I
And they,
hated I
they
hated Tekken 8. I stopped playing it. Right?
yeah, look at it. Yeah, that game became Tekken hate
Yeah.
for you. You know what I'm saying? Emphasis on the hate. But no, I totally get you because Yeah, I mean they were doing it in 5 too, so I'm seeing it happen in 6. I'm like, wow, like you guys got to be miserable. But I mean, yeah, free yourself, man. Real talk. There's other hobbies. These games are not a necessity for you unless you're making crazy content. You're getting hella revenue from it, and same with as a pro player. But yeah, just like what Chris said, that's exactly what you need to do.
All right. All right, Taj. Last question for you before we go. If you could make one change to Street Fighter 6 and one change only, what would you change?
Man.
Would you do like Idom says and just get rid of Drive Rush altogether? Would you go that far? Would you choose
Well,
Chaos?
honestly,
Or would you go for
honestly,
something
if I'm
else?
being real, I mean, so like I said, I try to look at it on both sides, right? Like, taking drive rush out the game would make the game super slow and probably super boring. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole point what you're saying about like the game not being like the last of like drive rush, as much as you people hate it, love it, whatever, like that whole discussion about neutral drive rush is part of the neutral. That's what a lot of people don't aren't willing to admit. Like it's like a chaotic neutral. Like every neutral don't have to be the same way. Like obviously MVC's neutral is not going to be the same as Street Fighters, you know. And I also think that's why a lot of people are like the anime folks and like some Marvel folks like 6, because it reminds them of that little chaotic neutral that they're used to playing in those games, because it's a fast-paced game. Like I didn't know they were going to make a faster game than 5, because but 5 did slow down a little bit when they added V Shift, but 6 is like, man, like it's perfect that they use drive rush. It's like green means go. That's your
Mhm.
fuel, man. That's how you get your car going. That's how you get your character going. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly wouldn't recommend taking out drivers, because it would just probably be a very like slow, tame game, and that's what makes 6 what it is. It's a chaotic, kind of crazy game or whatever. But I see why people like it, because back in the older games, yes, the games were slower. So now we're in this new era of fighting games where like, okay, rush down, rush down, rush down. We're doubling down on the rush down, on the aggressive mechanics and stuff like that, the aggressive gameplay and all that. So I'm trying to think of what that honestly, if I would say the same thing to change anything about 6, I wouldn't even probably come from gameplay. It would probably be World Tour, because I did like that story of World Tour, honestly. But I think 6 is just what it is, like you said, or whatever. I have accepted it, but I'm very much looking forward to the next Street Fighter. But I think 6, like how it is, like I don't think there's no change that I can really make to it that'd be like, oh man, this will get me into the game or anything like that. I guess I will highlight a change. The change they made to Perfect Parry, I think was really healthy for it, because I can't believe people were defending Perfect Parry how it was before the
I
game. Like how that was
do. When
crazy.
the game came out, when they were talking about the system mechanics, I was excited they
Mhm.
added parry to it. I don't hate parry, but when I
Right.
got into the game, I was like, oh wait, it blocks both like overheads and lows. So
Yeah.
you just tap it, because like even third strike, you have to
Yeah.
choose between like stand parry and crouch parry. You couldn't
Mhm.
parry lows with the stand parry in third strike. I never played a lot of third
Right.
strike, but I know like how the system mechanics work for the.
Right. Right.
And I was like, what? That's kind of dumb with the parry thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's how parry should have been from the beginning. I'm really surprised they went for that
Absolutely.
universal just parry everything with a button kind of thing. That was pretty
Right.
dumb. So
Right.
Street
Right.
Fighter 6 Season 3 I think is moving in a better direction. Again, if you don't like the game like you, Taj, and you kind of said you accept the game for what it is and you're like, nope, it's not for me, and you kind of said I'm done.
Right.
You're not even thinking about
Right.
changes you would like. You're like, that's the game, it's it, I'm done. If
Right.
you're one of those people, then I think that's really smart to just walk away from it. But I do think the team is making small changes that seem really small, but they're actually quite big once you get into it at a higher level, that are making the game
Mhm.
better. And I think Season 3 right now is a much better game than Season 1 and Season 2.
I can see that. I can see that. Now, one thing too, can we talk about this for a little bit? I'm not sure how much time we got going on, but a thing I do want to highlight, because like you just mentioned Tekken 8, and we're talking about 6. Can we talk about a little bit with the current state of fighting games right now?
Yeah, man, let's do
Right?
it.
Like, so I have an analogy. My stream hears all the time, and I'm gonna say it to y'all, because I don't feel like a lot of people are saying it in the right way. But with this current state of fighting games, like, yes, we made the games more accessible. They're popular. People are trying them out. It's great. But I'm looking at like, okay, what did we do to get here? Like, what did we sacrifice to get here? And so my analogy comes in is like, okay, the old fighting games, me and you, Chris, we used to play back in the day, they remind me about how we grew up in maybe the not so like not the best neighborhood, or just maybe a regular neighborhood even, right? And then, you love everything about it. Like, it was rough back then, cool, but you still had fun. Like, you remember your childhood memories and all that. You had fun. All right. What I feel like what's going on now is that, say, like, the old fighting games are like our old neighborhood how we grew up in, right? Now, let's just say some random corporation organization came in and said, "Hey, we're about to tear everything down and we're about to make this a HOA type house where every house looks the same." You know what I'm saying? We're going to modernize it, right? So like now our fighting games all kind of look the same. They're all kind of going for the very easy accessible approach, but they sacrifice the character uniqueness and the nuance that we like from the games and whatever. And so now like every fighting game looks like that same little modern house, those houses that are right next to each other where you can't they tell you like, oh, you can't cut your grass a certain way, or you can't paint your house a certain way. That's where I feel like we've gotten to with fighting games. And I just feel like we're in this era where like, okay, instead of making the games for the culture now, we're making the games to sell and appeal to the masses. And
And
I'm not a big fan of that direction, unfortunately.
I'm not a fan of that either, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I've got like
Mhm.
two predictions. Well, not really two predictions, but one thing with that, I don't like the fact that how they're doing it, like you said, and I also don't like the fact that they're trying to generate fake hype by
Yeah.
injecting a huge amount of money into some tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that's a whole nother discussion for another video. I'm not going to get too much into that now because I'm going to talk about this for an hour. But
Right.
I don't think you can generate hype just with money, not sustained hype. Right? You can get some quick initial hype with money,
Right.
but if a game is a game that people enjoy, that's popular, will do well even without injecting fake money into it. But a game that isn't popular or isn't loved cannot become popular by injecting like fake money into it.
Mhm.
That's my first thing. Then my second thing, I think what we're going to see moving forward, my predictions, we talked about how things were a little bit, how things have changed.
Mhm.
My prediction moving forward, I'm not happy about this. I hope I'm wrong. Let's just put this out there first, just in case anybody in the comments kind of comes for me. I hope I'm wrong about this, but my prediction moving forward is I think we're going to see less variety of fighting games and a less number of fighting games being played at tournaments in the next couple of years. I think with the way Street Fighter 6 has been kind of like right now, Street Fighter 6 is the top dog. Like there's like no competition right now in terms of like most popular game. Tekken 8 I guess would be below that for like traditional fighting games, but even that, like the gap between Tekken 8 player numbers and like Street Fighter 6 player numbers internationally is huge. And then we've got like everything below that. And I'm not going to mention any names, but we've seen a couple of games come out recently in the past couple months where everybody gets kind of excited. It comes out, then it kind of just,
Yep. Ooh, man.
disappears. And I think we're going to be seeing more of that because when all these games kind of play more or less the same, as long as they're all kind of doing this easier input, easier gameplay, rush down kind of offense sort of games, which all fighting games right now, all the most popular ones, kind of follow. Yeah. Even like Grand Blue versus Rising, you got 6XL. I know they've nerfed it, but it's still. Right. I know a lot of original Grand Blue players don't like the game because they feel it's moved too much in that direction. So I think when all the games kind of play the same, they become less unique, and then a lot of people are saying, "Well, why don't I just play the most popular one?" Yeah. And I think moving forward, we're going to see smaller titles not being able to compete either in terms of features, like overall like online stuff like Street Fighter 6, story mode, production quality for the most part, and then interesting gameplay. I think we're going to see a lot of smaller games just kind of disappear, and everybody's going to be playing the one 2D fighter, Street Fighter, the one 3D fighter, maybe, but then you're kind of in like a second tier of things. I think everyone is just basically going to focus on one or two games for the most part. I think we're going to see a lot of smaller games disappear or have an incredibly small presence on the tournament scene moving forward.
I can see it. It's low key a gentrification of fighting games.
Mm-hmm. And we've already seen it start to happen. It's been going on.
Exactly.
So like I said, I hope I'm wrong about that prediction. I hope fighting game developers kind of change the way they're making games. I hope they all don't kind of say, okay, this generation we're all going to make the offensive game or we're all going to make the defensive game. I hope everyone tries to bring something unique to the table, but just looking at what's been going on lately, that current trends, it's painfully obvious that that's what's been going on. So I hope that changes, because if it doesn't, we're all gonna be playing the same game whether you like it or not.
Right.
And I think that's where things are moving.
I
But what about
see.
you guys in chat? Do you guys agree with that? So just to sum it up here, if you're enjoying Street Fighter 6, why are you enjoying it? If you're not, why aren't you enjoying it? I mean, I think we all kind of know why. So let's try to get some more interesting comments in there. And what would it
Yes.
take to bring you back into the game? Then also,
Mhm.
what and also, do you guys agree with my kind of prediction that we're going to see smaller games kind of die off in the tournament scene? Or do you think I'm completely wrong about that? Like, I mean, let us know. I want to hear your opinion. I think it's kind of good to talk about these kind of things. It's pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
Dude, thank you so much for joining me today. I
For
want to
sure.
I
For
want to run this
sure.
again next time. Hopefully, we can get another
Yeah.
video out in the
Yeah.
next couple weeks.
And real quick, chat too, please let us know what we should title this. Like, we're freestyling here. We sound chill the F out. I mean, you got Taj F, Chris F. Who knows? Maybe we might see a Brian F in the future. You know, the Holy Trinity with that. But yeah, just let us know, and let us know if y'all like this. Like, you know, if y'all like us as a duo, or if y'all want to see other kind of conversations that we talk about. Because me and Chris can talk about this all alone. Like, you know,
All
we've
day.
been in that FGC, you know, for so long that we can have all kind of conversations. So yeah, definitely let us know for sure. But Chris, thank you for having me, homie. For real. Can we fist bump?
Yeah, we can
Can we
try.
fist bump? Okay, I think we can do that.
Hey, there
Yeah,
you go.
there we
Digital fist bump. That look weird, but cool.
go.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you all so much. Let us know. And if there's any topics or anything you want to hear us talk about in the future, also let us know in the comments. Otherwise, we're just going to